This has been a wonderful year and full of progress, achievements, and celebrations from students, faculty, and staff alike. And our hope today is to capture some of the highlights within these progressions, achievements, and celebratory events and share them with you this morning. I want to start with some heartfelt thank yous. First, I want to thank our Board of Trustees and the Board Leadership and Executive Committee for their leadership and support this year. Many have joined us this morning, particularly the Executive Committee of Chair Takila Naylor, Vice Chair Bob Hallman, Secretary Dr. Mike Sass, Finance Committee Chair Melissa Tate, Governance Committee Chair Megan Bushy-Shapiro. I want to recognize and thank two key organizations within our school structure for furthering this institution and for consistently doing so through the scope of our mission and vision. I want to thank the PPA, our Patriot Parent Association, and their leadership and co-presidents Piper Olson and Carrie McMahon, who are joined by officers Lindsay Smith, Simon Curie, Amanda Sower, Sheila Tierney, Melissa Frank, and division representatives Jessica Horner in the lower school, Allie Ellison in the middle school, and Laura Phillip in the upper school. Would you please help me thank them? The other movers and shakers belong in our Patriot Athletic Club, or the PAC, and its leadership team of President Seth Berkman, Vice President Vince Calcagno, who are joined by officers Denise Fiore, Claire Polk, and the tireless Angie Mitchell, Tracy McKenna, Anthony Trifoletti, and Beth Hayes. Thank you as well. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, throw the adverb in there, I want to thank my many senior administrative colleagues from CFO Rachel Lennox to division heads Liz McAllister, Andrew Griffith, and Tia Hill, joined by Dean of Student Health and Retention Debbie Taylor, Director of Admissions Trent Brown, Director of Marketing and Communications Megan Gray, Director of Philanthropy Mark Palmer, Director of our Learning and Enrichment Center Larissa Ecker-Berkman, Curriculum Coordinator Dr. Chuck LaRusso, Athletic Director Chris Turner, Director of Facilities Jeremy Rondazza, and finally the person who makes sure we're all on time and that everything moves seamlessly, Megan Benfield. Thank you all. Keep it going, this is going to be a clap fest. And finally, the precious commodity of our full faculty and staff, right? The boots on the ground who deliver the reasons as we all walk into this building every day. The ones who teach our children day in and day out, from the celebratory first day of school straight through commencement on the day after the last day of school. Would you please help me thank those who aren't here to hear this thanks because they're all in the classrooms teaching. Thank you, and I'll turn it over to Takila Naylor.
Thank you, Michael. And thank you to everyone who has joined us here today. I hope you know how grateful we are for you, your students, your family, and your support of Davidson Day School. It is a pleasure to be standing here this morning with our interim head of school, Michael Smith, and our new head of school, Andrew Bishop. I want to thank our interim head of school, Michael Smith, for his leadership and partnership with the Board of Trustees during this interim year. Each day, as I walk into the doors of Davidson Day School, I'm reminded of the feeling I had as a mom 9 years ago, signing my enrollment contract knowing that I was making the best decision for my daughter's present and her future. As I stand here today, the mom of a fifth grader, I am confident in that feeling that I had on day one. My daughter, Emma Grace, and your daughters and your sons are in a school where they are thriving academically, praised for their individuality, and challenged through their competitive spirit on the court, the field, and the stage. As a member of the Davidson Day School Board of Trustees, I take great pride, along with my fellow trustees, in furthering the school's mission and ensuring the future success of Davidson Day School. While we leave the mission-driven day-to-day operations to our head of school, it is our duty and our responsibility to focus on long-range initiatives such as strategic planning, finance, facility planning, and fundraising. Davidson Day is a mission-driven independent school. Our mission is to foster academic excellence through collaboration, creativity, and character development. Our vision is to be a premier college prep organization by offering innovative, personalized learning to unlock student potential and prepare well-rounded, compassionate leaders to succeed on the global stage. For Davidson Day School to achieve its mission and vision set forth by the Board of Trustees, financial strength and stability will be paramount. The financial health of our institution is the foundation upon which we build the future of our students, faculty, and day one experiences. The Board of Trustees utilizes board committees to enhance the effectiveness of governance and the decision-making process. Each committee focuses on a specific area of expertise, such as finance, philanthropy, governance, and building and grounds. Our Finance Committee works very closely with our CFO, Rachel Lennox, to ensure ongoing and financial sustainability. We can accomplish and achieve this by focusing on the following markers: cash reserves, debt management, and the operating budget. Tuition revenue is our primary source of revenue. Tuition and fees make up 92% of revenue at Davidson Day School. Tuition revenue provides financial resources to cover faculty and staff salaries, facility maintenance, and operational expenses. Regarding our expenses, compensation and benefits make up 72%, and facilities represent 7% of our expenses, including day and night porter services, maintenance, utilities, grounds, repairs, and renovations. Enrollment is a significant factor in the financial picture. Currently, we have over 500 students enrolled. Enrollment levels directly impact the school's operating budget. The funds generated from enrollment contribute to the day-to-day functioning of the school, including classroom supplies, extracurricular activities, and administrative expenses. The most significant investment a school can make is in its faculty. It is our goal and our mission to remain competitive and retain the best talent. We will continue to provide professional development, opportunities, and competitive salaries and benefits. On behalf of the Davidson Day School Board of Trustees, I want to thank every member of our faculty and staff for your dedication and your commitment. Thank you for giving our students a day one experience each day they walk into those doors. I would love to give them a round of applause. Let's spend a few minutes discussing the Davidson Day Fund. The Davidson Day Fund is our primary philanthropic vehicle to support our students and teachers. These dollars are budgeted operating revenue, meaning we have a goal of what we'd like to raise in additional programming, These dollars are budgeted operating revenue, meaning we have a goal of what we'd like to raise in additional programming or operating expenses to pursue when we hit specific targets. Your giving can transform students' educational experience and shape the future of our educational institution. The Davidson Day Fund raises unrestricted donations from various constituents, including the Board of Trustees, faculty and staff, parents, grandparents, alumni, and several companies, as many parent employers match your donation to the Davidson Day Fund. Here are a few examples of how your giving to the Davidson Day Fund impacts student learning daily. Your participation is just as meaningful as the dollar amount you give. This school year, 100% of our faculty, staff, and Board of Trustees have given to the Davidson Day Fund. When you give and participate, you say yes to a legacy of honor, commitment, and excellence. If you haven't given already this year, please consider donating today. As we come together to support the Davidson Day Fund, we are not merely giving, we are investing in the future of our school and, more importantly, in the futures of the bright minds who walk our halls each day. We've covered school finance and philanthropy, and now I'd like to welcome Michael Smith back to the podium to provide an update on teaching and learning at Davidson Day School.
Thank you, Takila.
I have remarks that will cover about 4 or 5 categories, and most of them move somewhat chronologically through the year. I want to start with belonging and inclusion. One of the key accomplishments of the Faculty Diversity Committee last year was the composition of the school's diversity statement, which was adopted by the Board of Trustees at their June meeting this past summer, and I'd like to read that to you now. Davidson Day School is committed to maintaining a welcoming, supportive learning environment that values belonging. We respect individual differences in ethnicity, gender, national origin, race, color, religion, sexual orientation, ability, and socio and economic status. Collaborative, inclusive, and diverse communities are essential to helping students appreciate differences, become ethical citizens, and develop as leaders for positive change. And this is precisely what we're developing here, students who will become the leaders of their own communities. You've recently received an email about the AIM survey that we are conducting on behalf of the school community. It actually opened yesterday. AIM is an acronym for the Assessment of Inclusion and Multiculturalism, and this survey is a product of one of our chief accrediting entities, NAIS, or the National Association of Independent Schools. I encourage you to fill the survey out as it will give us a wealth of data to interpret. I would also remind you that this very evening we're hosting a Discovery Summit, so we will have volunteers from the faculty and staff here to facilitate discussions about our community with respect to inclusion and multiculturalism. Since 2020, the school has hosted evening diversity council forums, opportunities to hear from students, faculty, staff, and occasionally parents about topics like belonging and what it's like to be an international student, what it's like to be a member of a non-traditional family. And during the first year or so, those evenings were well attended by members throughout the community, albeit they were via Zoom, if you'll remember. But because this passion for these forums often came from the students for the students, as a result, we've moved these forums within the scope of the school day this year, and those have been well attended by our upper school students. Tomorrow, of course, as I mentioned, is February, and as such kicks off Black History Month. Our own Maria Howell, who you'll probably recognize as an incredibly talented actor and vocalist, will be kicking off our celebration by speaking to each of the divisions, lower, middle, and upper, this Friday, February 2nd. Each division also has further plans to celebrate throughout the month and beyond. The academic department chairs, for instance, will be making presentations about notable achievements in their own academic disciplines from the African American community. Next, I want to talk a little bit about celebrations and accomplishments. A good friend of mine and former colleague from decades ago always coined a lot of phrases that I have borrowed, stolen them, frankly. And one of those is that good schools can be identified by what they choose to celebrate, and we are certainly no different. So a quick and somewhat chronological list of what we have chosen to celebrate this year. First, we have quarterly academic honors assemblies, celebrating student achievements in academics, honor, character after each scholastic term. Our Patriot Picnic kicked off our academic year. It was a great way for new families to meet returning families. Developmentally appropriate 9/11 assemblies were held this year with our speaker, Mr. Jim Toya. We've had parent education through The Emotional Lives of Teenagers by Lisa D'Amour in October, and then an early December gathering led by Larissa Ecker-Berkman on understanding your child's impulsivity, feelings, and emotions. And finally, a quick and shameless plug for you to join us on March 6th at 6:30 when we will host author Michelle Eichert, who will be here speaking about some of her books, namely 14 Talks by Age 14 and 8 Setbacks That Can Make a Child a Success. Veterans Day was a big celebration for us every year, and this year was no exception. Our keynote speaker was retired Brigadier General Tom James and brother-in-law to our own Tiffany Thomas. We are fortunate enough each year to sign NCA national letters of intent. This is when our student athletes make their commitment to play their sport collegiately, and this happens with great success at Davidson Day, and is an event that we're able to hold twice yearly because of that success. In the fall, Joanna Gertie staged The Play That Goes Wrong and Everything Went Right. And here I will add a quick and another shameless plug for you to purchase your tickets for our annual spring musical this year is Something Rotten, which opens on Thursday, February 29th, leap year day, why not? We have had lower school musicals, Flakes and Frozen, that have been performed this year. We've held our annual middle school band concerts, holiday concerts, including, I believe, the 16th annual kickoff of the Christmas in Davidson proceedings. We've had Spirit Weeks and Homecoming, replete with homecoming game, homecoming dance, and a lopsided win. We've been incredibly fortunate enough to host several ring ceremonies last spring and this fall, celebrating our student athletes in their six state championships from last spring to this fall. Girls soccer and boys tennis last May, and both girls and boys cross country this fall, led by coaches Dave Hall and Mike Raskovitz. Boys soccer also this fall, led by coaches Brad Lotch, Rob Simpson, and Patrick Letourneau. And of course, now her third state championship as our head volleyball coach, Catherine Glass, led her team to yet another state championship. Did I mention that was 6 state championships thus far? How about a round of applause for those? And the most special assembly I think I've ever witnessed as a school event, and that was when we came together as a school community on Friday, September 22nd, to celebrate the naturalization of early preschool assistant Miss Rita Patterson, and will remain as one of the coolest events I have ever been associated with. That was a very special day. And then sprinkled with regular cadence throughout the year, faculty and staff appreciation lunches from PPA. Thank you so much. We love to be fed. We have pep rallies, of course, under the lights, led by Athletic Director Chris Turner and Associate Athletic Director Catherine Glass. We have Patriot Pal events, one of my favorite things we do here. There's the Daughter Dance and the Sun Social, our alliterative events that happen annually as well. It's been a good year for those celebrations. Next, I want to move on to talk a little bit about curriculum and instruction. I'll start by pointing out our hire of Dr. Chuck LaRusso as the school's first full-time curriculum coordinator. Following a superb tenure and career as an educator in the Mooresville Graded School District, including 14 years as the principal at Rocky River Elementary School, Dr. LaRusso joined us this year in a newly created position as our curriculum coordinator. Dr. LaRusso is tasked with looking both at our vertical curriculum, in other words, what students will encounter as they matriculate through the full academic program from grade to grade and division to division, as well as our horizontal curriculum, in other words, the scope and sequencing that our students encounter at each grade level. Also retooled this year has been our faculty mentoring program. Under the direction of Priscilla Saunders, with support from Larissa Eckert-Berkman, Davidson Day's mentor program was established with several goals in mind. First, to provide a competent and caring mentor to new teachers in order to help them adapt to the new work environment and facilitate connections to community members. Next, to help recruit and keep highly effective teachers through a welcoming and supportive program. And lastly, to establish an intentional path to maintaining a positive work culture that values being student-centered, having autonomy, upholding professionalism, continually growing, and having fun. Our Learning Enrichment Center continues to be a force for good for our students. We have 138 students thus far this year using these services, and LEC instructors meet with them on a one-to-one setting to provide and review specific subject areas, as well as offer executive functioning, study skills support, speech language therapy, occupational therapy, and study skills groups. And next, we'll draw your attention to some division and programmatic slides from some accomplishments realized this year. In the lower school, I would point out that middle bullet as we're once again hosting the Battle of the Books, one of my favorite programs of all time, as I'm very partial to those young readers among us. This is taking place Tuesday, March 5th in the theater, and I suspect several of you have children on that team who have been preparing for this event since August, really reading their lists since last summer. In the middle school, I would draw your attention to the development of our service-based learning project with Food for Days that was launched this year and will be expanded in 2024-2025. And this program is a direct creation of our middle school community engagement club, an example how our program helps kids find their voice and then learn to amplify it. In the upper school, well, it is the season for seniors to hear from their selected colleges and universities to which they have applied, and this is stacking up to be a banner year for them. We've already had 100% of our seniors accepted to an accredited college or university of their choice, and those schools represent some of the more selective institutions throughout the country. It is not always the primary goal of our athletic department to win state championships, but it is happening here as if it's routine, because it has been routine. Did I mention it was 6 state championships? I don't know if that was in my notes earlier. 6 state championships since last May. Some 85% of our upper school students participate in interscholastic sports during any one academic year. And these same kids are the ones you see on stage as actors and dancers and singers. We're a school full of cornucopia kids, right? Not just academicians, not just athletes, not just artists, but all of the above. Finally, this has been a sensational year for the arts. I mentioned earlier our plays, and we've also been treated to concerts by Noel Friedline's contemporary ensembles. We've also had terrific additions to our school newspaper under the direction of Mr. Steve McGill and Senior Jillian Toya, The Untold Stories of Davidson Day School, which will be the focus of our next school podcast, so please tune into that. And I'd be remiss not to mention that our school's 2022-2023, this was last spring's yearbook, The Revolution, under the Tiffany Thomas's superb leadership, Small School Big Impact was the name of that volume. It's been recognized as the most outstanding K-12 scholastic yearbook for 2023 by the American Scholastic Press Association. That's a really big deal. You can applaud that. So Tiffany can do that. Now I'll move on to some remarks about our facilities. Speaking of movers and shakers, there are a group of people out there who are constantly working toward the growth and improvement of our campus, as well as our campus extended. Special thanks go out to our facility staff of Jeremy Rondazza and Mike Key, as well as Athletic Director Chris Turner and Director of Philanthropy Mark Palmer. Let me start with some improvements to our existing facilities. You see a photo there of Yates Gymnasium. If you've been in the gym this year, you've seen a thorough and complete painting of the gym's interior. From the walls to the ceiling to the ductwork, the gym received a fresh coat of paint and new paint scheme over the summer. And if you've been back in the gym since winter break, you've seen a complete remodel of our court with a complete new scheme, colors and boundaries, and we've assembled some great teams this year to take advantage of the new look. Special thanks to Athletic Director Chris Turner for making this happen, and of course the Patriot Athletic Club for their assistance in underwriting the improvements. Our Yates Gym improvements also include 6 new modular bleachers that we've added to the north end line in the gym, giving us over 100 additional seats for events in our gym, and with the teams that we have this year, we're going to need them. Over the summer, we remodeled our locker rooms, both our boys and girls locker rooms, and Yates Gymnasium went through a thorough remodel over the summer with new floors, paint throughout, and new lockers installed. Speaking of new lockers, our largest upper school enrollment in our history dictated that we needed additional lockers upstairs, so this fall it was necessary for us to cut into existing wall space and install a dozen new lockers for our high school students. And then if you've been out on Walter Field, you've likely noticed not only the overseeding of beautiful ryegrass out there, but our new flagpole, a gift from the class of 2023, was installed just behind the scoreboard. Not only does it honor our nation, but it gives spectators a focus as we play the national anthem before each contest. Prior to that, we had to turn towards the flag as spectators in the courtyard. A little thing perhaps, but this is a big thing for us, this flagpole. Speaking of Walter Field, there has been a growing group of investors who have been working diligently this fall with some staff members in order to complete plans for some significant upgrades to Walter Field, and I'm thrilled to announce that work has begun immediately on the first of 2 phases. In fact, you probably encountered this first phase as you parked in the parking lot this morning. The old fence has been removed, and construction will begin this week on a new fence that will have brick piers and anodized fencing in between that will line the complete south side of the field with new fencing fabric all the way around the rest of the field. Additionally, once our spring season is complete, we will begin construction of a new entrance to the field, which will also house ticketing and concessions, as well as new permanent press box on the north side of the field. We'll also add 2 more sets of permanent bleachers with concrete pads supporting them underneath. I'll point out that these actually are not our architectural renderings, but concept drawings by our own Jeremy Rondazza, but this will be quite similar to what you will see in place as we open our fall seasons next year. Super exciting to see this progress, and again, I thank the many supportive families who are making this a reality. I'm also thrilled to let you know that we have classroom improvements in the making. We have an academically related renovation project that we're working on that will have a direct impact on student learning in all 3 divisions. We've identified 3 rooms, 1 in each division, that we will remodel specific to the STEM programming, that's science, technology, engineering, and math. And as you know, super excited to see this progress led by Dr. LaRusso and his STEM steering committee, and we'll update the community as we begin renovations this summer. It's going to be a busy summer around here. As I know that there were several questions submitted relative to our Mooresville property, I wanted to include an update there. As per our Davidson Day strategic plan, we are initially focusing on developing the property for enhanced athletic use. While our target go live for this initial phase is the beginning of the school year of 2026-2027, our ability to hit this and subsequent targets is dependent on many factors, not the least of which includes the Town of Mooresville planning, approval, and permitting, North Carolina Department of Transportation approval and permitting, Davidson Day School fundraising progress, Davidson Day School financing options, and design, build, and implementation costs and critical path management. While we remain in phase one, that is working with the Town of Mooresville on approval and permitting, we have received updated concept drawings and plans that will help us get from concept to permitting, to building, and we're inspired by this progress, as patient as we try to remain. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about safety and security, which is close to my heart. We have added additional safety officer position to our safety and security staff. Karen Russell will continue to make our safety and security the priority on campus during the curricular day, and then Mr. Mike Key, who has been with our facilities department, will now become our after-hours PM security officer and who will remain on campus until the last event of the day is concluded. Mr. Key is a retired law enforcement officer with 28 years of experience and one whom you may recognize from his work in our local community over the years. Thank you, Mike, for taking this role. In November, I joined over 60 other heads of school to attend the SAIS, that's the Southern Association of Independent Schools Summit on School Safety. We heard from a number of experts in protecting students and school personnel, assessing campus security systems, collaborated with other heads to talk about what successful programs we maintain on our own campuses. And this was an unapologetic focus for us and our fellow educators, both locally, regionally, and nationally. On November 1st, we dedicated our Professional Development Day to safety and security on this campus. Safety Officer Karen Russell, in working with the Town of Davidson's Police Department, as well as a school resource officer from the Community School of Davidson across the street, organized a full day of focus on campus safety and security. Town of Davidson police officers spent the day focusing our training on 2 nationally recognized programs intended to put the faculty through the realities of how to respond to threats to our campus and the school community. And this may seem like a small one, but I got to talk about our speed bumps for a minute. This was a huge addition to me, and that was the installation of these speed bumps. I'm certain you all have encountered the new speed bumps that greet you 3 times as you make your way through the carpool or to a parking place. Simply put, these were installed to protect our children from the traffic that we manage through here daily. And while they are an inconvenience to some suspension systems, you know they will keep us safe. We've also done a thorough and complete upgrade to our security camera system, and you may have noticed the installation of 3 new poles out on Walter Field. They've got solar panels on them. That gives us crystal clear observation of the field, the upper playground, the full perimeter of our building, even out to the crosswalk, as well as our common interior spaces. Thank you so much again for your attention as I've worked my way through these remarks. I'll yield the podium back to Takila Naylor. Thank you.
During this interim year, the Davidson Day School Board of Trustees centered the school's strategic plan priorities around community engagement. The board announced Jennifer Shiley as the Director of Strategic Planning. Shiley has spent this year partnering with our board committees and administration to make community engagement not only what we do at Davidson Day School, but also who we are. Recently, our school community participated in a school-wide service initiative where we packed dream bags to support unsheltered families in the Mecklenburg County community. With our students leading the charge, Davidson Day School packed 840 dream bags. We donated the dream bags to the Sowing Mustard Seeds Ministry. Thank you to every family who participated and celebrated giving and a day of service. Thank you also to the members of our Diversity Council who stood out in the rain, gathering bags with a smile and a high five, and reminding us all of the privilege we have to be a part of our incredible Davidson Day community. If you haven't added it to your calendar already, please save the date for our Community Engagement Summit on Wednesday, February 7th from 6 to 8 p.m. Davidson Day School's Community Engagement Council will spotlight industry leaders who are making a difference in their communities locally and beyond. On Thursday, February 8th, our middle and upper school students will have the opportunity to participate in our nonprofit fair from 2 to 4 o'clock p.m. Students will have the opportunity to get to know our local nonprofit leaders and create partnerships for future leadership and service. Community engagement will continue to be an essential part of our school strategy next year as we begin with a new head of school. I want to sincerely thank everyone for participating in our head of school search. Thank you to the many Davidson Day students, faculty, staff, and parents who contributed to this process. We recently concluded a 7-month search process conducted by the Executive Search Committee. Thank you to each search committee member for their dedication and commitment to the search process. Thank you to our chair of the search committee, Mike Sass. Mike led the search with excellence and made every decision with each child's future in mind. Our head of school search firm, RG175, will continue to partner with Davidson Day School as we begin the 2024-2025 school year. John Farber will partner with the Board of Trustees for a strategic planning process and board governance. John will also mentor our new head of school for the 2024-2025 school year. We have begun the leadership transition for our new head of school, which consists of weekly briefings on school operations. The head of school transition committee comprises of the members of the Board of Head of School Support and Evaluation Committee, some senior administrators, and parents. We aim to navigate this transition with the same excellence as the head of school search. On January 3rd, it was my honor and pleasure to announce the unanimous appointment of Andrew R. Bishop as Davidson Day's head of school. Andrew brings 18 years of experience as an educator and leader in independent day and boarding schools. In Andrew, we have a dynamic leader committed to academic excellence and carrying out the school's mission through strategic leadership and daily management of all aspects of the school's people, programs, and systems. Andrew officially begins his tenure at Davidson Day School on July 1st, 2024. But we are fortunate to have him joining us here today. With gratitude and excitement, I welcome Andrew Bishop, Davidson Day School's new head of school.
Takila was talking about when she started. Good morning, everybody. It's better, almost like Vegas. I'll try that again. Good morning.
Good morning.
That feels better. In Vegas, if someone says good morning to you, you keep your hands up and your feet moving because they want something. I'm incredibly honored, to be here today. I first just wanted to say, wow, that was really, really impressive. I'm going to leave now. I don't think you need me because I think more than anything else, I just wanted to offer my heartfelt, thanks to both Takila, the board, but most importantly, Michael Smith. If you could give him what he has done to steady this school and to set this table is a monumental feat. I'm incredibly grateful and really, really appreciative that I've got Michael as a mentor and as someone that I can lean on as I think about making this transition for my family and for others here at Davidson. So thank you. Today, I thought what might be helpful is talk about my present and a little bit about our future. And to do that, really it's about right now, every conversation at the Bishop household is about Davidson. I'm like, guys, we're not there yet. Tell me about what's happening in your classrooms at Dawson. But it's always about Davidson. Thinking about what comes next for our family and our school. So my hope today is to share 3 stories, with you. And hopefully, those 3 stories will illuminate 2 things. 1, why Davidson Day for me? And the second is to begin to provide you with some insights into who I am as a person and as a school leader. So, thanks. Also, too, if we go back there, that picture, we talk about this all the time. Like, my wife was like, that's the best one, right? Like, you get the Christmas card pictures, and it's like, yep, that's the best one, Andrew, right? So, those are our 3 kids, and all 3 stories are about them. So, story number 1 from the Bishop dining room table. That's our youngest. Her name's Ryan. She's 5. She's in kindergarten. She is our vivacious, energetic cheerleader who is just full of spirit. We sat last weekend, and the story at the dinner table was about your pep rally. It was about those high school students working with our younger students. It was learning and listening that also, too, our board chair and other coaches were coaching the coaches and the students and then the younger kids. And Ryan lit up. She started beaming. She walked upstairs, and I got her this when I first came, in October. I got this in the airport for her. Right? Little tar leader, cheerleading outfit. She's like, I'm gonna go put it on. And she went downstairs, and her brother's pushing her, right? And she just started cheering. Why I share that story is about 2 things. One, I believe in Davidson Day because I believe the preeminent educational environments are ones that have 18-year-olds and 2-year-olds on the same campus. It is about our youngest students learning from our older students, and it's about our older students modeling the behaviors and expectations that we have for all of us. The second, in a community, this is what I see and feel when I walk the hallways and I step into the classrooms. Davidson Day is a school community where it's cool to be smart, it's cool to try, and it's cool to be nice. And as a result, students understand the power of positive peer pressure. How do I do what's right? How do I do what's right when no one's looking? Not because that's just what my mom and dad expect of me, but it's because it's what we expect of ourselves as a school. The power of community. Most important thing. Story 1. Story 2. This is Beckett. If I'm being totally honest, and my plan is to always be honest and transparent with you, this is our one child who's having the hardest time. He's struggling. He's our athlete. It's like, what about my teams, Dad? It's like, I don't have to cheer for the Panthers, do I? He's like, really? I tease, not really. We got years. He's struggling. He's struggling. And we sit, and we talk, and at dinner, he asked me, he goes, Dad, okay, just tell me, is Davidson Day any good at sports? How many times? 6. 6, right? 'Cause I say, yeah, buddy, right? And I'm able to talk with him, right, about those championships. I'm able to talk with him about the trip that the soccer team and volleyball team took to Europe. I'm able to talk with him about how the school he's going to be a part of just beat Providence Country Day over the weekend in overtime. And about how when I first came to, I was able to say, yeah, and they beat Cannon, this other school up the road. It's amazing. And he starts feeling better. And the reason why I share that is because I think it's also really important for us to acknowledge change and transition is hard. It's hard. It's hard because it's unknown. That's what he asks all the time. Tell me what it's going to be like. And I have to tell him, I don't know, bud. But then we talk about this. This notion of preserving our core and letting the outside in. What are the values that mean the most to us as a family? What are the values that mean the most to him as an 8-year-old? He is the best teammate I've ever seen. Not like the best teammate I've ever seen. I think that's also true in this transition. How do we preserve our core? I think the core of Davidson Day, I think it's the teachers. I think it's the students. I think it's the values that bind us all together. And that unity of mission. academic excellence through collaboration, character, and creativity. So when we talk at home, it's like, Bex, you're going to be on a football team, buddy. You're going to be on a soccer team. On the front of your jersey, it's going to say Davidson Day, and on the back, it will always say Mission. We talk about preserving our core. I think the same thing holds true with this week. We preserve our core, and we move together in the direction of the dreams we will co-create. I also think, too, for Beckett, and this is what I've really learned, and something he continues to teach me, is the importance of asking really good questions. By asking good questions, we're able to learn more deeply about what some of those fears are. I think that alleviates the hard that comes with transitions, something he continues to teach me. Story 3, this is Carter, just turned 10. Can't believe I've got someone who's 10. My wife looked at me on her birthday and she goes, the next 10 years she's not going to live with us anymore. And I'm like, stop, right? Like, I just turned 41. Like, stop it. I'm feeling old. The story we shared with Carter, and she's our one, she's more of my wife than me. She's just good to her core. She is an old soul. She is a leader. We talked about dream bags. Right? Talked about dream bags at the dining room table, and she asked me, why do they do that, Dad? I said, belonging, Carter. Belonging. She said, oh, okay. That's like at Dawson and our core values. We're the Dawson Bears. They're the Dawson Bears. I gotta start switching my pronouns. Our first core value is belonging. She's like, that reminds me a lot of what we have. And I'm excited that belonging means something to them. It's really powerful. She's my one, too, talking about belonging, where she's like, I'm like, why were you sitting over there? She's like, Dad, no one eats lunch alone. No one eats lunch alone. How do we create a sense of belonging? How do we create a sense of community? She's really kind of teaching, I think, all of us this idea of we, as a family, all believe in Davidson Day. Thinking also, about Carter is, this idea, she's a planner. I don't necessarily believe in horoscopes. I think birth order actually does tell a lot about people. She's the oldest. She likes plans. She's like, let's plan this out. I also workshop with this, with her a little bit. She's like, Dad, why don't you give him a little bit of a plan? I'm like, all right. So thought maybe what I could do today is talk about kind of the next 30, minutes, next 5 months, kind of the first 90 days. I think in the first, 30 minutes, here today, and afterwards, I want to spend more time getting to know you. Getting to know who you are as individuals, as people, and as parents. I want to do that. In the next 5 months, my hope is to work, with Michael Smith and with Takila and with others, and every month to send a communication to you all that outlines, here is how the plan and the transition is going. Here are our hopes. Because what I also realized today, listening to Michael and Takila, is momentum cannot stop. Momentum cannot stop. Great things are happening. The job is to be a catalyst, to continue to add fuel to our school and to our community. So, and how do you do that? Strong communication about what's happening here so you know and you understand as parents. First 90 days, and I think I only have 90 days, really to kind of do this, and it's like, okay, I feel Davidson's a community that has a bias towards action. I feel that you're a school that says, okay, you said you're going to do something, now let's do it. And the first 90 days is about meeting with all the faculty and staff, listening to them. Have a full listening tour to say, what is it that ignites you as an educator and what inspires you about the school. It's about being in as many classrooms as possible. It's about having coffee with as many parents as I possibly can. It's about sitting and acknowledging the fact that we as a family are all in on the school that we share. Then from there, I think after those 90 days, and we're looking at September, October, it's about delineating a clear path forward for our school and what the remainder of the school year looks like. How do we continue to talk about developing the Mooresville property? How do we think about continuing to enhance academic excellence to ensure our students and our graduates go to the best colleges and universities, not just in the country, but in the world? It's about making sure that we're measuring our values regularly and we're communicating effectively and efficiently with our parents. Last thing I want to share with you today is this. That's my cell phone. Take it down. Still a New Hampshire exchange, never changed it when I moved to Vegas. I will say I'm probably going to need to change it when I move and get a Charlotte exchange. But feel free, call, text. I mean what I say when I say I want to hear from you and I want to hear your stories. Okay, that's one. Two, one of the great men in my life was an English teacher named Ted Goodrich. Changed the trajectory of my life in high school, made me want to be a teacher. He shared with me something that I remember to this day, and I try to share with other students that I teach. He said, humility is the first step to strength. Humility is the first step to strength. I am so honored and humbled to be standing here today. I stand here today with a full heart, and I stand here acknowledging that any strength I might be feeling today is an absolute result of the strength of this community. So thank you. Last, I said 3 stories, I lied, I'm sorry. Not probably a good way to start. Carter and I, we go to Barnes & Noble every Sunday. Because we don't have a Main Street Books. It's Vegas, right? Like everything's chained, nothing's like pop, and pop. We go every Sunday, she's able to peruse. We end up spending a little bit too much, but it's our time together. And for those parents who have multiple kids, I think you can understand how precious that one-on-one time is, just to sit and kind of, talk, together. So that's what we do. And I recently, with Carter, we came home with this book. It's by David Brooks, New York Times columnist, but what I love about David is his evenness and his centeredness, right? Talking about issues that matter to all of us. In this book, he talks about 2 concepts. This is going back to my English teacher days. Read something to close out. He talks about 2 concepts. One concept is about open-heartedness, being open to others. The second is about finding people in our life who can be illuminators. Those illuminators are people. We all know them. They could be friends, family. I'm sure we have teachers and administrators here who light things up right in front of us. They light them up for the benefit of the whole, not for any individual gain. I think a lot about coming to Davidson Day with open-heartedness and trying my best to be an illuminator, for you. So, I read this and I immediately thought of Davidson Day. So, if you give me the honor, I'd love to close out with a passage from this book. It starts by saying, I'm not an exceptional person, but I'm a grower. Resonated with me. I do have the ability to look at my shortcomings, then try to prod myself into becoming a more fully developed human being. I learned something profound along the way. Open-heartedness is a prerequisite for being a full, kind, and wise human being. But it's not enough. People need social skills. We talk about the importance of relationships, community, friendship, social connections, but those words are too abstract. The real act of, say, building a friendship or creating a community involves performing a series of small, concrete social actions well. Disagreeing without poisoning the relationship. Revealing vulnerability at the appropriate pace. Being a good listener. Knowing how to end a conversation gracefully. Knowing how to ask for and offer forgiveness. Knowing how to let someone down without breaking their heart. Knowing how to sit with someone who's suffering. Knowing how to host a gathering where everyone feels embraced. Knowing how to see things from another's point of view. I'd like to close by saying thank you for allowing me to share this gathering space with you and feeling the embrace of this community. I'd also like to close by saying I look forward to hearing your point of view. Maybe, just maybe, me sharing my cell phone is one small concrete gesture of us creating a strong relationship together. So, I now have the good pleasure of handing it over, the hard part, to the Q&A session, to Michael and Takila. But thank you all for giving me